Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are so glad that you all are here. We have such a full house tonight, and it is lovely. We are so glad to see so many of your faces, whatever the reason is that you came here, whether you came here to celebrate a bat mitzvah, whether you came here to eat some soup, whether you came here to observe a yard site, to celebrate Shabbat, or for any other reason. We are so glad to welcome you in. A quick reminder, please, that if you have any device like a watch or a phone that makes noise, please turn it. I have mine set to a specific services do not disturb, which I'm happy to teach you about afterwards, but please turn it off or on do not disturb, not to ring or not to vibrate or anything else, so that we all can give ourselves the gift of Shabbat and really focus on Shabbat tonight. We begin our services tonight on page 10 with the words of Hine Matov.
Hine Matov umanai sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanai sheberachim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Sheberachim gam yachad. Sheberachim gam yachad.
It is my pleasure to invite up Amanda Jacobson to lead us in our candle blessing tonight. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And we continue welcoming in Shabbat with the words of Lecha, which are on pages 20 and 21. A reminder that when we reach verse 9, our second verse, we will ask you to rise and face the entrance as we welcome in Shabbat together. We continue on page 20 with Lecha.
Lecha dodi mikat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha dodi mikat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Ishmianu el ameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'letila. Lecha dodi mikat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha dodi mikat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Oi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzochola. Toch emunei am
standing as we turn to page 28 for our call to worship the Baruch Hu. Be seated. It's my pleasure to invite up Eva Higgins on the eve of her bat mitzvah to lead us in Ma'ariv Aravim on page 30.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim bechokma potea she'arim uvidvuna meshane itim Umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei hosha, v'hosha mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uben layla, Adonai sivaot shemo. El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them. For they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ohev amo Yisrael.
We continue now with the Shema on page 34. Please rise.
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shekevod Mahuto Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shekevod Mahuto Leolam Va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated as we continue chanting Ve'ahavta together.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להוד על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 39. You know, sometimes we're just chanting about teaching your children, right? Part of teaching your children is being here and saying that this is a safe place to be here and sometimes be upset, and that's okay. On page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We continue with Mi Chamocha on page 40.
We continue with our congregational tefillah, which can be found in our Sidurim and our prayer book on page 46. Will the congregation please rise?
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fia ki tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fia ki tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim etim atarav lehoshia, Mashif haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayim etim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishene afar, michamo chabal gevurot, umido melach, melech memid, umekayem, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha salah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Will the congregation please be seated? We continue on the top of page 55. Let's read responsively. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle, may all who suffer find solace. May all who despair find purpose. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat. We continue with a quick moment of silent meditation. At a time when our world is seemingly so unpeaceful and frightening, let us always remember God's abundant peace upon us and upon all of God's creatures. We continue with Oseh Shalom on page 62.
Oseh shalom bimromav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
We come now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of the Torah. And I ask everybody, if they are able to do so, to please rise at this time as we continue with Al Shlosha Devarim on page 249.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam olam omen. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam olam omen. HaTorah ve'al-avodah ve'al-gemilut chasadim. HaTorah ve'al-avodah ve'al-gemilut chasadim. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu ve'har kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtakavu והקודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
Please be seated. In our Torah portion this week, Lecha, God speaks to Abram, commanding him to go forth to Lech Lecha, go from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land which God is going to show. And there, God says that Abram will be made into a great nation. So Abram and his wife Sarai, accompanied by his nephew Lot, journey to the land of Canaan, where Abram builds an altar and continues to spread the message of monotheism. A whole bunch more things happen to Abram. But thankfully, we get to the end of the Torah portion this week, and Abram becomes Jewish by making a covenant or a brit with God. And at age 99, God tells Abram to circumcise himself and all of the men in his community. And so we can all be happy that we're here tonight without a circumcision. But you can follow along with Ava reading the Torah. This is her Torah portion, and she gets to come back and join Eva, who will have her same bat mitzvah portion tomorrow, but Ava gets to read tonight on page 93 of those large maroon books found either underneath your seats or under the seats in front of you. Ta'amod chiyabat bela likro haTorah. Ta'amod shulamit bat gershon ufruma gittel la'aliyah haTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barecha banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
V'Avraham ben Tishim v'Tesha shana bihimolo besar orlato v'Yishmael beno ben shana esrei shana v'himolo et besar orlato be'etzem hayom hazeh nimolu Avraham v'Yishmael beno v'chol anshe beito yalid bayit umiknat kesef me'ed ben nechar nimolu ito.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. It makes me so happy to have these kids come back a year later because they're under warranty still. See that they got this. Eva, next year. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. All right. Our thoughts now turn to those of our community and families who are ill and in need of healing. And we think this evening of Rabbi Bruce Goldwasser, Rabbi Fred Wenger, Bridget Stern, Lila Warshawski, Alan Wolski, Richard Vane, Sally Vane, Lori Bateman, Joyce Sefman, George Phillips, Deanna Levin, Frederick Bryan, Lisa Stack, Carol Nymark, Shelley Halper, John Eulenberg, Joy Rosenthal, Martin Kolber, John Sarabasi, Sheila Alterman, Andy Ostrove, Richard Jason, Mary Carol Smith, and all who suffer whom we know not by name. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yevarech v'rapeh et kol cholei Yisrael, vayishlach lahem bimheira, refuah shlema, refuah tanefesh, refuah taguf, and nomar, Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are stricken. May the Holy One of Praise mercifully restore them to health and to vigor. May God grant them health of body, health of spirit, and of mind. And let us say, Amen.
The B'nai Mitzvah process starts about a year in advance of a student's date. Even though students don't meet with me until about 9 months before that big event, families begin to wake up to the fact that this is really happening when their kids become eligible to sign in for the required services a year before their date. Tonight, we have a special opportunity to publicly begin Audrey Schaub's Bat Mitzvah journey. I want to invite Eva and Ava back to the bima, and as well as Audrey. Eva, you'll become a bat mitzvah tomorrow, and will hopefully come back next year to read Torah the night before Audrey's bat mitzvah. And hopefully we'll have a sixth grader to whom you can pass a prayer book to and share the same Torah portion, Shabbat, Lech, Lecha. Ava, we are so thrilled that you came back to read your Torah for us this year. You had your bat mitzvah a year ago, and we were so proud of you then, and we still are today. Ava and Eva, you can give Audrey her prayer book to use over the next year, and hopefully beyond that to become more familiar with the service in preparation for your big day. Every service you attend now will count towards your required services. If you don't know how to use your phone to sign in, please ask either Eva or Ava, and they will help you out.
So this is how we link families, traditions, and Torah together, building and strengthening our Jewish community. Is there anybody else here who had Parshat Lech Lecha as their Torah portion? You have to come up to the bima at this time, even you, yeah. Anybody else who wants to pretend that they had Parshat Lech Lecha? Come on up. All right, this is great. All right, ladies, come forward. This is girls' night at Congregation Etz Chaim. All the ladies. We're gonna dance all the. Okay, maybe not. My kids are cringing in the corner over there. They're just like, oh my God, Mom. So in that spirit, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise as I convey upon them the priestly blessing from the book of Numbers. Yeverechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha, v'yikuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God be kind and gracious unto you. May God's countenance be lifted up unto you and grant you the most precious gift of peace. And we say together, Amen. Amen. We stay standing as we invite our Hagba and Galila. Ya'amod Yehoshua ben Emmanuel va'atara Hagba, ta'amod atara bat Avraham v'Sara golelet.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to invite to the Bema at this time to lead us in the blessings for Israel and America, David Higgins and Jill Rossioli. We continue on the bottom of page 259. David?
Prayer for our country. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Help us to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we serve you. Bless our country, that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Amen.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. Amen.
Our service continues on page 256 as we rise to return the Torah to the Ark.
Eitz Chaim Hilama Chazikim Ba V'Tomchecha Meushar Eitz Chaim Hilama Chazikim Ba V'Tomchecha Meushar Shalom 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 Shalom. It is a tree of life to those who all pass to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to those who all pass to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Please be seated.
as I was thinking about what story I should share tonight, it dawned on me that it's Soup Shabbat. I should tell stone soup. It's an appropriate story for tonight because for those of you who joined us or for those of you who didn't, when it's cold and rainy out and it's fall, the best thing that you can have is a bowl of soup, right? It's that thing, something warm that warms our entire bodies. And that's, I think, so much of what we crave. And in stone soup, this took place a long time ago, but you can imagine it happening today as well. Right? This took place a long, long time ago in a town where there were 3 travelers, and they came to the town and they were just looking for a place to have a bowl of soup and a place to stay for the night. And they went to the first door that they saw in the village, and they knocked on the door, and somebody answered, and they said, we're just passing through for the night. Would you be willing to share with us just a bit of your food and perhaps a bed if you have one, and in return we'll tell you of all of our travels. And the townsperson said, I'm sorry, I gave all my food to the travelers last week. I don't have any more, and quickly shut the door in their face. And I thought this was a little strange, but they said, okay, maybe it was just that family. So they went to the next house, and they knocked on the door, and the woman sort of peeked her head out and said, go away, I don't have any food for you. And that was it. And they said, well, this is strange, but let's try one more house. And so they went to the next house, and they knocked on the door, and they said, do you have any food? And they said, the harvest was bad last year. We barely have enough to feed our families. We can't feed you. There's no possible way. And these 3 travelers were feeling pretty rejected. They were like, we don't really know what's going on, why people aren't feeling so generous. In the town where we come from, of course, we always open our doors to visitors. And even if we don't have a lot, there's always some to share. There's always some to go around. They said, we're going to teach this town how to share. We're going to teach this town how to make soup. And so they went to the town center. They found some wood in the forest, and they started to build a fire. And people started to poke their heads out a little bit and say, well, that's a little strange. Why are they building a fire in the middle of the town? That's really strange. And somebody finally came out and asked them. They said, well, what are you doing? And they said, we're preparing to make stone soup. But we don't have a pot. Does anybody have a pot that we could use to make stone soup? It's this delicious soup, and we're happy to share it with the whole town if somebody just has a giant pot that we can use. And one townsperson said, oh, I have this really large pot. I use it every year for Passover for my family. Let me go get it. So they went to go and get this giant pot that they had, and they brought it and set it on the fire. And in it, they went and they got some water. And each of the travelers took out from their pockets a tiny little stone, a polished, beautiful little stone, and they put it in the pot, and they watched the pot boil. And as this is happening, more and more of the townspeople are coming out, and these 3 travelers are gathering around the soup. And you know, soup gives off this scent, right? When you're boiling water, when you're boiling anything, and you can smell it in the air, and they're waving it. There's a term for this that chefs use that I can't remember, but they're doing that, right? And they're saying, oh, this soup smells so delicious. I'm so excited to share it. If only we had some carrots to put in it, it would even be more delicious. And the townspeople looked around, and one woman raised her hand. She said, I think I have a few carrots to spare. And she went back to her house, and she brought a whole bag of carrots to put in the soup. And they said, thank you so much. This is going to make it even better than it would have been before. And they start to stir the soup, and they're smelling it, and you can smell the carrots, and they say, this soup is amazing as it is, but it would be even better if it had some onions. And another townsperson raised his hand and says, oh, I probably have a spare onion that I could share with you. And he goes back to his house, and he grabs a couple of onions, and he throws them into the soup. And this continues on, and they ask for salt and pepper, and they see if anybody has some matzah meal. Maybe we can make some matzah balls, and maybe even a little bit more seasoning, until the soup pot is so full of soup, and the whole town has gathered around, and they can't believe it that they get to try stone soup, that they've helped to build stone soup. And at the end, the travelers smell it, and they say, our soup is finally ready. Let's grab some tables, let's grab some chairs, let's make sure that we have enough bowls and spoons so that the entire town can eat some of our soup. And so they go and they bring the tables and the chairs and the bowls, and they serve, and everybody in the town, including the travelers, including the people who turned them away, got a bowl of soup for the night. And as everybody's eating, the travelers in return share their stories of their travels all around the world and what it has been like and what it's like outside of these towns. And in the morning, they get up and they leave. And the townspeople say, we're just so glad that we finally know how to make stone soup. And we don't really know whether the townspeople understood what it meant to make stone soup or why they made that stone soup. But what we do know is that when we come together, we have more to give as a community. And when we build our own chicken soup, we get to sit together, we get to have a Shabbat meal together, and we get to share our stories of traveling through life together. Shabbat Shalom.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for celebrating Shabbat with us tonight. I'm Laura Piachak, and I am honored to share our announcements with you this evening. Thank you to our usher, Jamie Dornfeld, and our greeter, Julie Colwat. Thank you to the security team for providing security this evening. They may not even be able to hear me because I think they're still out there. So we'll pass the word. Thank you to Cindy for the beautiful music, as always. Mazel Tov, Ava Higgins and her family on Ava becoming a bat mitzvah. Mazel Tov, Audrey Schwab on receiving your prayer book. Yasher Koach, Ava Madison on the lovely Torah reading. We hope you enjoyed Soup Shabbat. You can join us 4 more times for Soup Shabbat during the winter season, and make sure to spread the word. But if you cannot wait for more soup, we actually have some more we're serving on Sunday, November 6th, which is our annual Gary Gardner's Empty Bowls fundraiser. It's a fundraiser to fight hunger, so please join us if you can. There's also an opportunity to bring in your textiles to be recycled, a separate event, but still important. Next Saturday, please join us at 4 p.m. in your jammies for a PJ Havdalah service geared towards families, including grandparents, with children 8 and younger. This week, we welcome our artist in residence, Mordechai Rosenstein. There will be programs Thursday through Sunday for all ages. For more details on these and other upcoming events, check out our weekly happenings email. Please join us this evening, of course, after services for a wonderful oneg in the social hall, sponsored by Ava's family in her honor. And finally, I have been asked to share why this congregation is important to me. There are so many things I could say, as I've enjoyed membership here for over 18 years. But briefly, I would say it's community. This is a wonderful community of people, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
We begin to conclude our service now with Aleinu on page 282, and it's my pleasure to invite up Sophia Racioli to help us open the ark doors. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated.
נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season and in years past. And on this Shabbat, we think of Donna Dansker, mother of Julie Kalwat, grandmother of Joseph and Rachel Kalwat, Joan Gorbian, mother of Diane Rubacek, grandmother of Adam Rubacek, Sarah Goltz Landau, mother-in-law of Eileen Landau, Shirley Berkovitz, grandmother of Marla Friedman, Max Porton, father of Art Porton, Gerald Martin, father of Tammy Lefkowitz, Sidney A. Feist, stepfather of Ron Weininger, Elizabeth Bonk, mother of Virginia Weisskopf, Seymour Holzman, father of Linda Sarku, Donald Marks, father of Robin Dombeck, Bernard Ginsberg, uncle of Charles Lunar, Norman Weiss, father of Mark Weiss, Benjamin Kaplan, grandfather of Gary Pollier, great-grandfather of David Pollier, Ethel Siegel, mother of Barbara Turner, Mussie Gossage Coleman, mother of Howard Gossage, Max Ein, grandfather of Gabriel Ein, Norton B. Rosenbaum, father-in-law of Tracy Rosenbaum, Sam Turner, father of Leslie Turner, Ethel Sharashef, mother of Diane Johnson, Naftali Frankel, father of Dina Fruin, Lucille Winkleman, mother of Ann Stein, Eli Mandel, father of Craig Mandel, Henrietta Forbian, grandmother of Diane Rubacek, Jeffrey Cutler, brother of Suzanne Saltzman. And we mourn the recent passing of Obie Sherman, father of Edward Sherman, Stephen Danziger, husband of Mary Ellen Larson, brother of James Danziger, and Albert Spenedel, brother of Joel Spenedel, uncle of Hannah and Jacob Spenedel. We join together now as one community on page 294 as we rise to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayei u'v'yamei u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal Shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
Ve'imru, amen. Ve'imru, amen. Ve'imru, amen. Ve'imru, amen.
Please be seated. We conclude our service singing Lech from this Torah portion, the words of which can be found on page 341.
On your journey.
my pleasure to invite up Eva Higgins together with her parents to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Wherever your journey takes you this Shabbat, may it be for a blessing. Shabbat shalom.